Chosen one, it's time to stop overlooking God. It's time to stop quieting the gentle voice that has been speaking deep within your soul. Too many times, the whisper of the Spirit comes, yet the noise of the world drowns it out. So often, God speaks in ways that don't match our expectations, and because it doesn't agree with our desires, we push it away. But listen closely. Every time you ignore the voice of God, you risk delaying the destiny He prepared for your life. Each time you turn away from His direction, you welcome unnecessary pain, unneeded battles, and avoidable regret. The Bible tells us in Proverbs 14:12, "There is a way that appears to be right, but in the end it leads to death." What may look correct to you now, what may feel easy at the moment, could be the very path that brings you into destruction if you keep ignoring the God who is calling out to you. The reason you must not ignore God is because you are chosen. And when you are chosen, your life is not your own. You are marked, set apart, and sealed with divine purpose. Ignoring God isn't just disobedience. It's rejecting the very mission He created for your life before the beginning of time. The Lord said to Jeremiah in Jeremiah 1:5, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet to the nations." This same truth applies to you, chosen one. God has already written your future. He has already mapped out your steps, but He requires your obedience to walk in them. Ignoring Him won't cancel the calling, but it will delay your arrival to destiny. Ignoring Him doesn't erase the promise, but it weakens your readiness to receive it. You need to understand this truth. God will not compete with your distractions. He won't shout over your idols. He won't force Himself into your space. He speaks to those whose hearts are ready to hear. He waits for those who are willing to listen. Jesus said in Revelation 3:20, "Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come in and eat with them, and they with me." Notice He knocks, but He doesn't kick the door down. He calls, but He won't drag you. He waits, but He won't wait forever. There is a right time to answer, and that time is now. To keep ignoring His knocking is to risk losing the very presence that brings true meaning to your life. Some of you have felt the pull of God for years. You sense Him in your restless nights. You feel Him in the discomfort in your soul. You see His signs in your relationships, in your daily struggles, and in the disruptions that keep shifting your plans. Yet you bury it, hoping that ignoring the conviction will make it disappear. But chosen one, conviction is one of the greatest signs of God's love for you. The fact that He still corrects you means He hasn't given up on you. Hebrews 12:6 says, "The Lord disciplines those He loves and punishes everyone He accepts as a child." Ignoring God's correction is like ignoring danger signs on a risky road. It doesn't remove the danger, it only increases your chances of disaster. The danger in ignoring God is that you train your spirit not to hear Him. Each time you delay obeying Him, every time you set His word aside, your heart becomes more stubborn. That's why Hebrews 3:15 warns, "Today, if you hear His voice, do not harden your hearts like they did in the rebellion." A hardened heart cannot sense the movement of God. A hardened heart cannot recognize His timing. A hardened heart will call chains freedom and call freedom chains. A hardened heart will choose slavery over the promised land. The Israelites were a chosen people, but because they hardened their hearts and disobeyed, many of them died in the wilderness without ever stepping into the promise. Don't let that happen to you. Don't let stubbornness steal the inheritance God already prepared for you. Chosen one, now is the time for you to wake up. God isn't calling you to a life of comfort. He's calling you into a covenant with Him. He's not speaking just to touch your emotions. He's speaking to set your destiny in place. When He tells you to walk away from certain people, it's not because He wants to punish you. It's because He sees danger you cannot see. When He tells you to give up certain habits, it's not to make your life hard, it's to get you ready for the weight of His glory. When He tells you to step into obedience, it's because the door to your purpose is opening, and only obedience is the key that can unlock it. Isaiah 1:19 says, "If you are willing and obedient, you will eat the good things of the land." It says, "Willingness without action is empty. Obedience without a willing heart is slavery." But when willingness and obedience work together, they create the harvest of destiny. There are always two voices in your life, the voice of God and the voice of compromise. One leads you to life, and the other pulls you into loss. Adam and Eve were placed in a perfect garden with everything they could want, but when they ignored God's voice and listened to the serpent, they lost their place in destiny. The true tragedy of ignoring God is not just the discipline that follows, it's the lost glory that was meant for you. How many crowns have been delayed because of disobedience? How many blessings have been blocked because of rebellion? How many relationships, ministries, businesses, and dreams have been destroyed because chosen ones ignored the who was calling them? When Jonah rejected God's command to go to Nineveh, he ended up in the belly of a great fish. His disobedience didn't only affect him, it also put the lives of others sailing with him in danger. That's the truth about being chosen. Your obedience is never just about you. Your calling affects nations, families, and generations. When you ignore God, you're not just holding up your own breakthrough, you're delaying someone else's freedom. Romans 8:19 reminds us, "For the creation waits in eager expectation for the children of God to be revealed." The world is waiting for your obedience. Someone's salvation is connected to your yes. Someone's healing is tied to your yes. Someone's breakthrough is linked to your yes. If you keep ignoring God, they keep sitting in darkness. Do you understand the weight of being chosen? To be chosen means you are God's solution to a problem on the earth. To be chosen means you are the answer He formed for this generation. To be chosen means heaven is waiting on your obedience. That's why you can't keep running from His voice. You can't keep putting it off, because every delay in the spiritual world creates space that the enemy is quick to fill. While you ignore God's direction, the enemy moves forward with his plans. While you struggle with obedience, souls are being lost. While you silence God's voice, darkness continues to grow. This isn't the time to play with your calling. This isn't the time to treat divine commands like suggestions. This isn't the time to ignore God, because ignoring Him today leads to regret tomorrow. The worst lie you can believe is that you have more time, that you can obey later, that you can say yes next month, next year, when life feels easier. But James 4:14 says, "You do not even know what will happen tomorrow." What is your life? You are a mist that appears for a little while and then vanishes. To ignore God now is to gamble with your eternity. To delay obedience is to act like you own your next breath. Chosen one, take this as a serious warning. Time is not in charge. God is. Your life is not your own. It belongs to the one who bought you with His blood, and He is calling you now, not tomorrow, not next year, but now. Chosen one, God is speaking, but are you listening? Too often, the issue is not that God is silent. It's that we're too distracted to hear Him. We've filled our ears with the noise of the world, the noise of entertainment, the noise of opinions, the noise of social media, and the noise of our own desires. But God isn't found in the earthquake or the fire or the wind of noise. He's found in the quiet, gentle voice, just as Elijah experienced in 1 Kings 19:12v12. And if you can't quiet yourself enough to hear Him, you will miss the most vital instructions of your life. God is not impressed by how busy you are. He's not impressed by how much you can accomplish on your own. What moves Him is obedience. Saul thought his sacrifices would impress God, but Samuel told him in 1 Samuel 15:22, "Does the Lord delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as much as in obeying the Lord?" To obey is better than sacrifice, and to pay attention is better than the fat of rams. Saul ignored the voice of the Lord, and it cost him his whole kingdom. Footnote 1:4. Heres, Saul, Ram, your sacrifices can never take the place of your obedience. Your offerings can't take the place of your full surrender. Your presence in church can't replace your submission. Your gifts and talents can't replace your willingness to do exactly what He tells you to do. Many people have confused partial obedience with total obedience. But even partial obedience is still considered disobedience. When God tells you to end a relationship and you only create distance without fully cutting the connection, that's disobedience. When He calls you into ministry and you keep putting it off, telling yourself you're not ready, that's disobedience. When He tells you to forgive and you act like you have on the outside but still hold bitterness in your heart, that too is disobedience. The story of King Saul is a serious warning that chosen ones must not ignore. He was anointed, yet he disobeyed. He was chosen, but he gave in. And because he listened to the voice of people more than the voice of God, he lost the very position God had placed him in. There is always a cost to ignoring God, just as there's a cost to obeying Him. The difference is that the cost of obedience brings eternal reward, while the cost of disobedience brings deep regret. Jesus said in Luke 9:23, "Whoever wants to be my follower must say no to themselves, pick up their cross each day, and follow me." Notice that He didn't say, pick up your comfort or your convenience. He said, pick up your cross. The cross stands for death, sacrifice, and surrender. To follow God means laying aside your preferences, your own plans, and your pride. But chosen one, the weight of obedience is lighter than the burden of regret. The cross of obedience will lift you into honor, but the load of disobedience will bury you under sorrow. Some of you are caught in repeated patterns right now because you have been ignoring God's voice. The reason some problems keep repeating is because the same instructions keep being disobeyed. Israel wandered in the wilderness for 40 years, not because the promise was too far, but because their disobedience kept them trapped in a cycle. You cannot keep ignoring God and expect to move forward. You cannot reject His commands and expect blessings to come. The wilderness is often the result of ignoring divine guidance. But chosen one, the very moment you choose to obey is when the cycle begins to break. The day you decide to stop ignoring God's voice is the day the walls that block you start falling. The moment you say yes to God is the moment the rivers that stop your progress begin to part. You must understand that ignoring God doesn't just hurt your own life. It's rebellion against the kingdom of heaven. When God calls you, He's not only thinking about your comfort, He's thinking about His eternal purpose. Your obedience is a part of His bigger plan. That's why Psalm 95:7-8 says, "Today if you hear His voice, don't harden your hearts like you did at Moriah." Every time you hear God's voice and do not obey, you're telling Him that your way matters more than His. That's why rebellion is compared to witchcraft in 1 Samuel 15:23. Ignoring God is like placing your will above His, and that is the heart of rebellion. Yet even in the middle of His warnings, God still offers mercy. Even if you've ignored Him before, He knocks again. Even if you've pushed Him away, His grace keeps calling you back. Think of Jonah. He ran from God's assignment, but God sent a storm, a big fish, and still gave him a second chance. Think of Peter. He denied Jesus 3 times, but Jesus brought him back with love by the Sea of Galilee. Think of Israel. They rebelled again and again, but God sent prophet after prophet to bring them back. Chosen one, the fact that you're reading or hearing this message right now means God has not let go of you. This is your second chance. This is the moment to stop running, stop ignoring, and start listening. God isn't calling you to ruin your life. He is calling you to rescue it. Jesus said in John 10:10, "The thief only comes to steal, kill, and destroy, but I have come so they may have life, life in full." When you ignore God, you line yourself up with the thief, but when you respond to God's voice, you step into fullness of life. Don't let the enemy trick you into thinking obedience will take away your joy. Real joy only comes from obeying God. Real peace only comes from surrendering. Real purpose is only found when your life lines up with God's will. Chosen one, what has God been speaking to you that you keep ignoring? Has He been nudging you to pray more deeply? Has he asked you to walk away from a harmful relationship? Has he been urging you to forgive someone? Has he been stirring your heart to launch a ministry, start writing, begin speaking, or serve in his house? Has he called you to turn away from a secret sin? The danger is not that you can't hear him. The danger is that you hear him but still hesitate. James 1:22 says, "Don't just listen to the word and deceive yourselves. Do what it says." Every time you hear and don't act, you deceive yourself. Each delay hardens your heart a bit more. Each time you ignore, you drift further from the very God who's trying to save you. That's why the Holy Spirit is saying, stop ignoring God. Stop muting his conviction. Stop running from his assignment. Stop treating his voice like it's optional. Stop living like there's always more time. The time is now. This moment is serious. The kingdom of God is under attack, and only the bold will rise up and take their place. You can't afford to be passive in this season. You cannot afford to be lukewarm. Revelation 3:16 says, "Because you are lukewarm, neither hot nor cold, I am about to spit you out of my mouth." God isn't looking for half-hearted obedience. He's not looking for part-time surrender. He's seeking the chosen who will say, "Here I am, send me." The danger of ignoring God is not always instant destruction. Sometimes the judgment is delayed, and that delay tricks people into thinking they're safe. But Ecclesiastes 8:11 tells us, when punishment for a crime isn't quickly carried out, people's hearts are filled with ideas to do wrong. Just because consequences haven't shown up yet doesn't mean they're not coming. The seed of disobedience always brings a harvest in time. The question is whether you will turn back before that harvest shows up. But there is still hope. If you'll tune your ear to him now, if you'll humble yourself and respond, God promises restoration. Joel 2:25 says, "I will restore to you the years that the locusts have eaten." What disobedience took from you can be brought back through obedience. What rebellion slowed down can be made up through surrender. God is not done with you. He still has plans, good plans, to prosper you, not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future, but those plans require your yes. They require your obedience. They require that you stop ignoring his voice. Chosen one, the Spirit is calling out to you because he cares deeply. He's pulling you back because he has purpose for you. He's pressing on your heart because he sees the greatness inside of you. You are not average. You are not forgotten. You are not a mistake. You are chosen. And because you are chosen, your obedience holds weight. Your yes carries power. Your surrender changes atmospheres. The moment has come to decide. Will you keep ignoring him, or will you respond to his call? Will you keep silencing his whisper, or will you finally say, "Speak, Lord, your servant is listening"? Chosen one, there comes a time in every life when God's voice must be answered. You can't delay the decision forever. Living in delay is the same as living in disobedience. Some of you are standing at a crossroads right now. God has been tugging at your spirit, and you feel the battle in your heart. That inner wrestling is there because your spirit knows you must obey, but your flesh keeps pulling back. Galatians 5:17 says, "The flesh wants what is against the spirit, and the spirit what is against the flesh." You cannot ignore God and expect inner peace. As long as you resist him, you'll feel the struggle within. That's because your spirit refuses to settle for less than what God made you for. Ignoring God might feel easier for a while, but in the long run it leaves you empty. Sin might feel good in the moment, but it never lasts. Hebrews 11:25 says that Moses chose to suffer with the people of God instead of enjoying sin for a short time. Moses knew that saying no to God for a moment of pleasure would cost him eternal glory. And you, chosen one, must also choose. Come to the same realization. What is temporary is never equal to what is eternal. Do not give away your birthright like Esau did just for one meal. Do not trade your crown for a moment of weakness. Do not give up your future just to hear claps from people. When God speaks, he is not only guiding you, he is also protecting you. His commands are not heavy loads, they are shields. His word is not given to trap you, but to keep you safe. The enemy whispers that following God will take away your freedom, but the truth is, real freedom only comes through obedience. Jesus said in John 8:32, "You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free." Turning away from God's voice makes you a slave to lies. Hearing God sets you free into truth. Every command from heaven is like a key opening a new level of your purpose. Every word from God is a lamp to guide your steps and a light on your path. Just like Psalm 119:1-5 says, "But if you ignore the lamp, you will trip in the dark." Think about the days of Noah. People turned their backs on God's warnings. They kept eating, drinking, getting married, and doing their usual things like nothing was about to happen. But when the flood came, it was already too late. Genesis 6:5 shows that the evil of mankind was deep, and every thought in their heart was always wrong. Yet Noah paid attention to God, built the ark, and was saved. Chosen one, the only thing that separated Noah from the rest was not wisdom, not talent, not wealth. It was simple obedience. Noah listened, the others ignored. Noah followed, the others turned away. Because Noah listened, his family was saved. The danger of ignoring God is that when you finally understand how serious He was, it might already be too late and the door may be shut. Do not let the door close on your calling. Do not allow delay to turn into denial. Do not allow disobedience to turn into regret. God's mercy is deep, but it is not forever. God's patience is big, but it is meant to lead you to change your ways. Romans 2:4 reminds us that God's kindness is meant to lead us to repentance, but if you keep rejecting His kindness, judgment is all that's left. Chosen one, if you keep turning away from God, you will regret it. From all men. Chosen one, if you keep turning away from God, you will regret. Not because God is angry at you, but because He loves you too much to leave you in rebellion. Maybe you're asking why the storms in your life are so strong. Could it be that God is using the storm to get your attention? Jonah's storm was not just bad luck. It was sent by God. The storm was meant to stop Jonah from running away. Maybe the chaos around you is not the enemy's plan, but God's correction. Hebrews 12:11 says, "No discipline seems pleasant at the time, but painful. Later on, however, it produces a harvest of righteousness and peace for those who have been trained by it." The trouble you are feeling might be God's way of saying, "Stop running, stop ignoring, come back to me." The biggest loss in ignoring God is not only what you miss, it's also what others miss because of you. You are not chosen just for yourself. You are chosen for nations, for generations, for people you may never even meet. When Esther became queen, she could have ignored Mordecai's words and stayed quiet. But Mordecai told her in Esther 4:14, "If you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance for the Jews will arise from another place, but you and your father's family will perish. And who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this?" Esther listened, and her obedience saved her people. If she had stayed silent, she would have died with regret. Chosen ones, someone's life is connected to your yes. Someone's purpose is waiting for your obedience. Don't stay silent when God is telling you to speak. Don't stand still when God is telling you to move. The voice of God often interrupts your comfort. It almost never fits into your calendar. It rarely feels convenient. But it always matches your calling. Abraham was told to leave his land, his people, and his father's house to go to a place God would later show him. Genesis 12:1 says, "Go from your country, your people, and your father's household to the land I will show you. I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you." Abraham could have said no, but instead he obeyed, and his obedience gave birth to nations. The promised land was already waiting, but only obedience could take him there. What promised land is waiting for you? What blessing has been delayed because you have refused to move when God said, "Move"? Ignoring God is risky because it trains you to feel okay with disobedience. The more you avoid His voice, the more normal sin feels. And soon, you may not even notice when God is speaking. That's why Paul warned in 1 Timothy 4:2 about people whose consciences are burned like with a hot iron. When your heart is hard, conviction doesn't reach you. When you feel no conviction, you stop repenting. And when you stop repenting, destruction follows. That's why the Spirit is urging you today. Don't wait until your heart turns cold. Don't wait until your ears are too dull to hear. Say yes while you can still hear His voice. Chosen one, the voice of God brings life. To ignore it is to choose death. Deuteronomy 30:19 says it clearly, "This day I call the heavens and the earth as witnesses against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessings and curses. Now choose life so that you and your children may live." Every time you say yes to God, you are choosing life. Every time you turn away, you are choosing death. The decision is yours, but the results will follow. God cannot be mocked. Whatever someone sows, they will also reap. Sow obedience, reap purpose. Sow disobedience, reap pain. And let this be clear. Ignoring God does not make Him stop speaking. His word still stands. His commands still matter. His call still waits. Romans 11:29 says, "For God's gifts and His call are irrevocable. You can push it aside, but you cannot erase it. You can resist it, but you cannot make it disappear." Jonah tried to run, but the calling stayed. Moses tried to refuse, but the mission stayed. Jeremiah tried to keep quiet, but the word burned inside of him like fire. And you, chosen one, may try to bury the calling, but it will rise up until you obey. Because once God picks you, you cannot unpick yourself. Once God places His hand on you, you cannot escape His reach. David said in Psalm 139:7, "Where can I go from your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence?" The answer is nowhere. You cannot run away from the one who owns eternity. So why keep resisting? Why keep turning away? Why keep running? The quicker you say yes, the sooner you'll find peace. The quicker you obey, the quicker the doors will open. The quicker you listen, the quicker your purpose will begin. Delay is expensive. Disobedience is dangerous. Ignoring God will only increase your pain. But listening, chosen one, will increase your favor. Listening will protect your life. Listening will unlock your mission. Listening will line you up with God's plan. Chosen one, the Spirit of God is calling out to you. This is not the moment to hide. This is not the season to delay. This is not the time to harden your heart. Every second you delay obedience, you are risking your future and eternity. God has been knocking at your heart, whispering through the Spirit, speaking through events, calling through His word. Don't ignore Him anymore. His mercy is waiting for you today, but tomorrow is never guaranteed. The day you decide to listen is the day everything changes. The moment you say yes is the moment the chains of delay break. The day you surrender is the day your real purpose wakes up. Heaven is waiting for your answer. The earth is longing for your rising. Generations are tied to your obedience. This is your time. This is your moment. This is your season to rise, to change, to obey, to walk into everything God made you for. Don't be like the people in Noah's time who waited until it was too late. Don't be like Saul, who was chosen but lost everything because he disobeyed. Be like Abraham, who followed and became the father of many. Be like Esther, who listened and saved a nation. Be like Mary, who said, "Let it be to me according to your word." Let your answer today be yes, Lord. Let your response be obedience. Let your heart cry be, "Speak, Lord, your servant is listening." Chosen one, it's time to stop ignoring God's voice. Listen and you will walk into life, blessings and destiny. Ignore Him and regret will follow. The decision is yours, but heaven is watching. This is the time. Today is the day to obey.